Good morning. Thank you, Barbara, for joining us today for the first Warrior Nun online convention.
Hi, everyone.
It's a pleasure and
Nice.
a privilege to have you here with us.
Thank you very much. I'm also very happy to be here with you. A bit stressful, but happy.
The airport venue for you.
Yes.
Well, we are absolutely blown away time and time again, both seasons of Warrior Nun. And the work that you've done is just so special and spectacular. So wanted to say thank you so much for this beautiful world that you've helped to build us watch.
Thank you very much. I'm really overwhelmed because of all of you, and I'm so happy to think that anything I've done, have pleased and so many people in the world, and it's really important for me.
Obviously, Warrior Nun has a lot of sci-fi elements to it. It's very visual. What were the most challenging aspects for you, kind of constructing and building what we get to see?
Well, as I said many times, I mean, some of the interviews I had before, I think the most challenging thing about this show was to combine these two universes, which they were the ancient world with all these things that we have in our minds since we are little, or people, the Catholic countries, that we have all this iconography that is with us since we are born, and combine it with this new world, or this whatever is on the world after the ring, what is out there. And that was very challenging and very beautiful as a job for a production designer.
Well, we also know that Simon Barry has a high caliber vision also for the series. And I wanted to talk a little bit about what your kind of collaboration process was with his idea and visions of this world, and then, your ideas and visions, and how that kind of collaborated and communicated together.
I think it's extraordinary, well, and a good communication between Simon and I. It doesn't happen very often in this business, but it did in this time. And I think he is an incredible showrunner with a hell of a lot of respect for all the professionals that he hires. And so he lets you really fly, your imagination fly. And so he's always open to new ideas, and to build the world around what you have thought, and in combination with his script. So it's fantastic. It doesn't happen many times. It happens very few times on life.
He has just a beautiful but very intricate eye, and the world that you've collaborated on together, it's just kind of mind-blowing. These different worlds you talk about, there's a reality, and then there's this otherworldly elements. And I wanted to talk a little bit about also how when it comes to the production, or the production design specifically, how does that interplay with the VFX elements as well? Because we also get a lot of that in
Right.
aspects too.
Right. Well, when we're in preparation, and when we are shooting, the effects, it really comes later. I mean, you design first, and you design knowing that the effects will take over up to a while. So the communication with Winston and with VFX was very strong since the very beginning, so we were in the same, you have to go hand by hand with VFX, because now our world and their world is completely combined and joined together. so we certainly talked and communicate a lot. We had a lot of meetings. So my designs, I knew some things that I was not able to do because of money or budget or time, and so that I knew that VFX will have to take over. So we were discussing it together with Simon and with Chris and the DP, and we was basically a team work, which is, it doesn't happen even anytime also, and it was absolutely great.
When you take on a project like Warrior Nun, do you start mapping things out first or drawing things out first in your mind, or do you start with conceptualizing from once you get a script?
Right. Well, the first thing I do normally is first I read the script once without thinking, almost. Then I again read it a second time, and that's when I start doing a work of analyzing sets and doing all the breakdown, which is very important. And then I start with all the research and all my, all where everything comes from, which is the research and all my studies, of history, of art, of architecture, all my inspirations. So that's what I do. I start doing this. Then I start scouting. And then when I scout and we know the location, then I start, I evaluate what we need to build, or what it needs to be built, or what it needs to be just dressed. And that's that's more or less the process.
Season 2, the locations kind of seem to elevate. You get to shoot in Prado Museum, and
I know. It was amazing. It was really, really, we were really, really ambitious, and we got it. We got it, and it was absolutely fantastic. I don't know if some people will appreciate it, but certainly, I mean, it was really, really, really high level on locations for sure.
I mean, it's a full museum of art in itself. You're creating art around that art, so it's kind of.
Well, what I said, I mean, we shot on the Prado Museum, but we just shot because, of course, in the Prado Museum, you cannot do everything that it was needed for the action. So I recreate the Prado Museum, all the part that is with the prize and the crown and all that is being recreated in an empty room in another museum. So because of course in the Prado you cannot go there and do all such a things, and it was needed to be to put our own things, our own sculptures, and so all that it was not possible to do it in the Prado. So we did it in another empty room that we just paint and recreate, put on set dress with all the sculptures and everything we needed.
Well, production design sets up a lot with scenery and background, but it also adds a lot of details and kind of can enhance the storytelling aspects with certain items that may be important or significant to a series. And I wanted to ask if you could talk a little bit about maybe some of the more intricate work that you did, whether it's something that showed up in Beatrice and Ava's apartment, or like the crown, something that maybe not necessarily captured fully on screen, but it's important.
For example, the crown, that was a big deal because the crown of thorns, at one point we said, Simon said, okay, let's do on VFX. They said, okay, this is completely VFX. But we still needed something practical as many times for the DP, for the photography, to picture it. So at the end I said, okay, let me let me try to do my best with a crown, see how it works. And so we did a couple of, we started with one sample that it worked okay, not extremely well, but okay. And then we did another one and another one. And finally we ended up with a pretty good crown that was physical. It was crown with all the little lights that they work very well. And it's a whole process that is super important. There were other things in this second season. We had established already all the halo and that all those many things, many of the weapons and so it was so we was adapting, like we adapted the process with the light and all these things, but we already had a pretty big work done before, in the season one.
Well, and at times it sort of looked like the crown of thorns, speaking of, could maybe potentially be used as a weapon. Did that ever, were there any ever plans to make it into like, fighting purposes, or was it just meant for?
No, it was meant, really it was meant like it was just the connection, the connection between the worlds and the connection between the two worlds. But I don't think it was planned ever. Maybe if we had a season 3. But
As the night goes on, yes.
but not in season 2.
Well, obviously the halo can be used for
Yes.
its own weaponry. So I kind of feel like from head to toe, it has to be well armed, so the crown could have a duality.
Totally.
Maybe.
Totally.
Well, fans have been recreating a lot of these items, special items from the show, obviously, between the Divinium sword to, speaking of the halo. What does it mean to you as a production designer, seeing all the work and effort and dedication the fans put into to kind of recreating these special items from
I think they are so fantastic that they should be the production designers of the show. Because they are so talented. I've seen so much of good art and so much of good things, good drawings, everything, good tattoos, good everything. I mean, everything amazing. I am really, really, overwhelmed, totally overwhelmed.
The artwork, I mean, they spend time really like very detailed, going through like the wonderful Instagram posts that you've shared and things that you've shared on, through social media, and really combing through those tiny details and the work that they come up with and put together. It's just breathtaking to see that recreated, and it has to be, obviously.
For us, that's that, you cannot imagine how much we appreciate that, because normally we are not appreciated as this way, this way. I mean, of course, we are there always, but, our department is always there. It's someone that starts very early, that is not really, that then has to finish very, very late. We are on the shoot, but we are with like different people. And when the shoot arrives, really everything, we had months before of preparation, thinking about what they were going to do that day, and so it means really, really a lot. Very special that all these people, they really appreciate what you do. It's really, really overwhelming.
Well, we talk about these special items, and certainly, the time and effort that you've put into creating them. They sort of become like your little, special tokens too. And, do you have any you were able to hold on to from season 2 or season 1 that remain really special for you that you're allowed to?
Well, I'm not allowed to know anything because I sign my heart to to Netflix, unfortunately. But yes, I mean, well, I have everything in my mind, and I have every drawing, I have everything, I mean, I have it. It's me who created, So I have it in very deep inside of me. So it doesn't. Hold on, 1 second, eh? Okay, 1 second, please.
Yes.
So yes, so I was saying yes that I mean I keep little things, but I have everything. I'm able to redo it again immediately if I need to. That's what I mean.
I was gonna say for season 30, wherever we may pick up with it, I hope that there may be some lingering items somewhere that, like you said, you can't talk about, but hopefully
I
there's
know.
something
I
around.
know. Netflix didn't want to keep anything. I mean, they kept some things, but the rest is being destroyed. So, well, if we wanted, we need to do it again, which is not a problem at all because, I have every single detail needed to do it again. But that's what it is. Yes.
Someone is asking, what is the favorite prop that you designed? Do you have a favorite?
For me, well, the sword was very, very difficult and very, very nice to design. It's always difficult to design a sword because every sword has been designed already. In every Marvel show, in every film. It's very difficult. So I was trying to do a mix of, but I was really accurate in some way. So that's why the handle is so engraved, which is not normal in these other like films, very, like Marvel films or other films that, and this is it was a German sword and it was very, very beautiful in itself, the hanger. And so I said, well, let's do this. So, it has something different. And so I did it with a Toledo sword maker. And he's a great, great artisan of swords. And we did some tries. We did it, and yes, we did it, and it was really nice. And then the other hand, also, the Bibles. The Bibles are special to me because it's with beautiful drawings and a beautiful. I come from fine arts, and so everything is paint, and painting is always very special to me. So the Bibles and how to tell the stories through them and through the designs, through the drawings, it was very beautiful too.
When you constructed certain items and watching it back on screen, is there something that you're like, oh, there's this item, that took me, extra hours or was so extra complicated, and look at the way, like, are you like hyper, like what
everything, everything is very complicated.
Well, yeah, so you're dealing with very ancient items. Yeah.
Yes, everything, even the small things are complicated because you need to. You need to, they have to interact, interact with the stands, so everything has to be thought in a way, and then it has to combine as again, these two worlds, and it has to be, I didn't want to be aggressive, but in the same time, they had to look cool. So it was very interesting, all these props making, really, prop design.
It's all these elements that go in together. Then, like I was saying, like you kind of get maybe a brief glimpse, but you've taken the hours to construct these items and put all these intricate skills into it, and it has to be kind of really also rewarding to you in that regard, that you get to watch all of this play out on screen, and you see you may not see all those hours that you put into it because the shot may be passing, but
No, totally.
that's
Well,
what
as you
really
know,
helps
I
to
mean,
build the storytelling. It really helps to build these added elements or aspects to characters' relationships too.
yes, of course, it was. I mean, I think also the communication with the directors was important, and with of course overall with Simon, communication with Simon was very very important. He he was the one who was giving me the input that needed every time for every prop. So anytime I had a doubt or say let's go this, should we go this path or should we take this other path? You know, so it was such a nice communication between the two of us.
Well, fans have been quite vocal, obviously, through social media about getting to share a season 3 of Warrior Nun and advocating for more representation as well. And wanted to kind of ask, what that means to you, that outpouring, and maybe if there's anything that you'd kind of like to say to fans to either, lead the charge and continue it, or what that you hope
Well,
that
I'm so amazed, completely amazed of how you guys, every single fan of Warrior Nun, has been doing for these months is so amazing. All the work you've done, all the things that you have put together, all these skills from so many people that have been doing all these things and build these things and design these things and redesign. And I mean, I'm absolutely amazed, completely amazed. And well, what can I say? I mean, I will be so thrilled to lead the third season if we will be one, and if not, I really just appreciate it so much of all your effort, the effort that the people has done.
besides people obviously sharing their recreations, what kind of fan feedback have you really received socially about being a part of the series?
No, I haven't received them. Well, never in my life I've received something like this before. I mean, it's completely amazing and completely overwhelmed, 100%. I mean, it's I don't know. I thought Morenan was very special for me because it's true that not many times it happens to a professional that you work as a family, and when it happens, like what's happening or that we did a click, and so we were like close, all the head of departments, we were super friends, and everything was so nice, was discussed, was and I think you can tell, you can see it, you can see it on the screen, and that it happens really really few times. And this time it happened. So, and I think that's why Warren 9 is so special also. I think it's because of that, because you see it somehow.
It's a special series in so many aspects about it, but the heart of everything is also evident behind the scenes that you all have put into building this world, making everything feel like it's such a beautiful interwoven story being told. So we again, appreciate the amount of time that you've taken to engage with us. We appreciate all the extras things that you've shared with us, photo or information about how to recreate.
I know. I'm not very good at it. But I try my best. Okay. And I really thank you guys, because I think you're the best of the best, really. And I'm not very good of I'm not very much into social media or anything, but I try to do my best.
Whatever feedback or whatever things that you take the time to share, it's extremely appreciated, because you go to give us these extra things that just kind of add to the feelings that Warrior Nun leaves us with is just, everybody's wants to learn more, wants to know more, wants to see more. It's not over for sure.
Maybe we can do one day we can do a master class or something, and I can share, every set and the prep of every set or something like that. I will be thrilled to do it for sure.
Well, in order to show our appreciation to you as a guest, we're going to allow people to turn on their camera if they'd like to, and just kind of wave hello or say thank you.
Okay.
Should be able, wants to turn on their camera, should be able to do so, to say hello and just
okay.
To
I
show
don't have much more time, so yes, of course.
This is the last aspect, so thank you so much for joining us this morning.
No,
being a
you're
part
very
of
welcome.
series that has really touched a lot of us and made so much meaningfulness for the fandom.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Really, thank you.
It's a pleasure and a privilege, Barbara. Thank you for your time.
It's completely optional for everyone to turn their cameras on, but you've got about 50 participants here listening to you right now.
We're honored to have had you this morning, and we wish you safe travels, of course, as well.
Thank you very much. I mean, anyone that wants to ask me something, you can, of course. I have, I don't know, maybe 10 more minutes, 15 more minutes.
Does anybody have a question for Barbara?
Absolutely. If you raise your hand, we are able to unmute you for any participants that want to ask a question.
I see person with the hand raised, Danny.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for sharing the idea of maybe someday attending a masterclass would be amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about your background knowledge or studies about art, something like that you have put into in your sets and props and design?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, my studies were from the world of fine arts. They were not from the world of cinema or film. So my studies were fine arts. I did a bachelor in fine arts. Then I became interested in film, and I ended up in the film world. But yes, so that's why for me, paintings, sculptings, architecture, photography, all that is very, very important in my films, in all of my films, because that's my world, is where I come from. So yes, and now it's a combination. I use that as a base to tell stories, which is what we do, tell the stories, no?
We've also got a question in the chat from someone who is driving. So Lisa asks, would like to know, I guess, about the mediums that are used to build such realistic sets.
A lot of effort and an incredible, absolutely outstanding team that I have behind me. Because I'm nobody without my team. I'm nothing without my team. I have such an incredible crew of people that they are specialists, and they are designers, and they are painters, and they are sculptors, and they are graphic designers, and they are prop men and set designers, and all these people just help me to do something. Every set and every single thing we've done for Warrior Nun, and to be Warrior Nun what it is, no? To be possible to build realistically what it was in our head.
Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara, for coming on.
Yes, thank you so much. Again.
You're very welcome.
We very much appreciate you lending your time to us today.
Okay.
Take care, Barbara. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much to all of you. And again, I'm overwhelmed by all your incredible dedication and all this. Okay, so thank you very much. I will really appreciate it.
Thank you to the French fans who translated the sword as well and their work.
Yes.
Mentioned that too.
Okay.